Mr. Chairman, Steve Compton, I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Steve. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, can I have a second?
I second that. This is Carolyn.
Oh, well, there you are. Hello,
Hi.
Dr. Munson. Thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes from the last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, well, let's get on with it then for today. First is a little follow-up, and I think Steve was going to speak to this a little bit. So the first thing on the 9200 codes. So I'll let Steve go ahead.
Well, thanks. And I think it's been solved. I know that after the last meeting, we had some questions about whether the refraction was being paid with the medical diagnosis, and then I came up with some rejections, and then they reprocessed them and we got paid. My concern is it's not just for me, it's for the whole state. And Cindy's not here today, so as far as I know, it's working. I can double check. But it seems, if it's not fixed, it's in the process.
Okay. Well, I know I checked too, Steve, when I saw what was on the agenda, and we've had several lately going back a little bit that had been rejected. So my question is to anyone on a Visas, would those be something we might need to reprocess?
Yeah, Matt, let's reprocess those. But before you do that, send me one or two that that didn't go through. I want to see how they are pointed, because I just ran a check this morning. I had the claims team run a check, and it looks like it's running pretty smooth. There was a hiccup on the identifier, how it was pointed, and that's where I saw some on Dr. Compton's report. But for what I saw this morning, as I'm looking at the report, it looks like it's pretty good. So if you have something a little older, I'd actually like to see the whole thing, because I want to see how you pointed it on your claim submission and see if that is the issue there.
Okay. I'll make a note of that, and we'll try to get that to you. Thank you.
So the pointer needs to go to the medical condition. Is that correct?
Correct, sir. Yep.
And apparently I didn't do that.
I think so. You know, it gets confusing because you're providing routine eye, you're providing or annual eye, or wellness eye, and then you're providing medical eye. And there's a lot of stuff you're putting down there, and it's just very easy for it not to point in the right direction. And if it somehow got pointed to the routine eye portion, it will deny out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll pay more attention to that as well.
Thank you.
All right.
Quick follow-up on that. So if we do use the 92s on a medical situation like that, does that eat up their routine exam benefit?
Absolutely not. Has nothing to do with the annual benefit.
Well, we've noticed a few that it on their multiplier thing, where we look at benefits and if they're eligible, their eligibility, that it says that they don't have a routine exam anymore after we've done that.
Shouldn't be the case. You sure it's an Avisa's thing?
I'll look and make sure.
Okay. That's not how we're set up, because we're all set up based on diagnoses. So, okay. And that code can't exhaust on the medical side, right? So
right.
It's make sure it's an Avisa's thing, because doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Dr. Upchurch and Dr. Sawyer, no wait. Can you all put your videos on, please? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to skip around just a little bit on the agenda and keep up with the visas. Dr. Levy, I've been having, and I don't know if anybody else is, this was just kind of something I've noticed on our billing. It seems like 80 to 90% of the ERGs that I have billed were denied on the first time through but on appeal, I think most all of them are paid, which is fine. But I'm just curious as to, is there a situation that we should be looking at on the first time through to keep from having to do an appeal on every one?
Yeah, I don't want you to appeal at all. So there's something going on there. Are you using the 92273 and the 92274, which has been effective as of 1/1/21?
Yes.
All right. Do me a favor, Matt. Send me a few of those too. I don't know if Dr. Worth is on with me from Avisis. I didn't see his name. I'll share those with David and he'll take a peek. It's not how I want it set up. It's again, the CPT is set up with the appropriate diagnosis codes, should pay out automatically based on the LCD.
Sure. And that's what we do in one, like I said, once we've appealed them, they've all been paid to my knowledge, but it seems like everyone we bill has to be appealed.
Yeah, so I want to see how your claim is coming in. There's got to be something that's going on there. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting this across the board. So let's see how you're supplying that claim and how you're attaching everything, and we'll go from there.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Moving on, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Munson. She had a question on the PAs and post authorizations.
Thank you, Matt. So if you remember last time, we talked about trying to make it a little easier for all of our providers to find out what service codes need to have either a prior authorization before they're done or have a post authorization review. And if you remember, I highlighted kind of Avisis. They have a very nice document on the portal that literally gives us every kind of information that we could need for any of the codes that we're looking to provide service for. And so what I had asked the other MCOs is if that was something that they could A, find, and B, make it much easier for the participants to locate. And so Avisis is off the hook because they're kind of our example. So if the other MCOs could give me an update on that for each of their own portals, that would be fantastic. Don't all jump in at once. So we can go alphabetical. So Anthem, IQuest, have you all been able to work on that?
Yes, this is Christy from IQuest. We did go ahead and put a good amount of information on our website. We've actually had that out there for quite some time. We do have kind of like a quick presentation, kind of just like steps on how to access it, as well as like a link that we are more than happy to share with the TAC committee. But basically we have a list of authorizations as well as our processing policies and a good amount of details on the website. You don't even need to log into the portal. You can just go straight to the website, click and go and be able to access all the authorization information.
Okay. And yeah, if you can get that, if you have screenshots of that, that would be fantastic. So we could disseminate that out to our membership.
Yeah, absolutely. We put those screenshots together, and as well as the link, and as well as, just some examples of what it looks like when you click on some of the different links. So we were more than happy to share that detail over.
Okay. And that has all of the codes that are reimbursable.
All of the codes that are reimbursable.
Complete.
Yeah, even frequency limitations,
what
prior, post, it really goes into the nitty gritty, as well as, like I said, are not just the listing of the authorizations, but we just thought it might be helpful to have like processing policies, just so everyone can understand what codes are covered, but as well as our processes as it relates to processing those authorizations.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, and then, so the only other one that's not using, well, there's two. So United Healthcare, which has Marsh Vision. Do you guys have an update on that?
Hi, this is Heather Ragusa with March. Hi, Dr. Munson. I don't think you've seen my name much. Anne's on PTO, so I'm attending in her absence. I know that none of the March benefits require any kind of prior authorization. So there's no prior authorization form needed for any of the services that we administer. So was there something different that you were looking for?
So does Marsh Vision cover all of the codes that are in the approved codes in Medicaid for optometry and ophthalmology, or do you farm out some of the medical codes to United Healthcare?
Yeah, we don't have administer any ophthalmological services. So what we're administering is strictly what's within the scope of licensure of an optometrist, and there are no prior authorizations required for any of those services.
So like Drista, YAGs, none of those require anything, and those are services that you cover.
And I'd have to look at the CPT codes. I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head, you know, the specific medical services that you're referencing. But I'd be happy to take that back and confirm. But I can tell you that none of the CPT codes billable by an optometrist, any services performed within the scope of licensure, require any kind of prior authorization. There are no prior authorizations required for any of the services that March is administering, and that goes for both United Healthcare and also Molina Healthcare.
Okay. Okay. Well, then we will maybe kind of double check that, because we do surgical codes. And so I'll have to look into a little deeper, just because you guys are new, to make sure that it is all our coverage for everything that we're allowed to do is our scope in Kentucky. But it sounds like that's what you're saying. So that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and if you have any examples of any, you know, claims that have been submitted where they've been kicked out for what looks like, you know, lack of prior auth from March, please feel free to send those over to us. We'll be happy to follow up on that, but that shouldn't be happening.
Okay, wonderful. And then the last one would be Passport, which also has Marsh Vision.
And that's correct. So the same goes for Passport, exactly.
So previously Passport, when they had Superior Vision doing their vision management, they did have some fracture off. Has that changed? So for both United Healthcare and Passport, they're not having any prior authorizations for any of our services?
Not when it's billed by an optometrist.
Okay. And that's kind of the key. So if we're in an OD-MD practice, it would be different rules for the ophthalmologist than the optometrist.
You got it. So if it's billed by an ophthalmologist, we would just be processing routine, strictly refractive diagnoses and routine codes, a routine eye exam. If it's anything that's outside of that routine service, it's, you know, it's outside of the scope of services March is administering.
Okay. And then that would default back to the medical carriers, United Healthcare or Passport.
You got it.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. That's perfect. That is all I needed, Matt. Thank you.
May I interject?
Absolutely.
So ophthalmology and optometry are billing different entities for the same medical service. Is that what I just heard?
That's correct. So if it's a medical service, because what March is administering is just routine care. We have some, as you know, ophthalmologists in network, but we're really contracting with those providers only to perform routine care. We're not doing any of the medical services for the ophthalmology community, because we're really focused on routine care and those services performed, medical services performed by an optometrist. So anything that's a medical visit, any kind of medical visit to an ophthalmologist needs to be billed to either the United Healthcare plan or the Passport Health plan.
Okay, I may be the only one on the call, but I have an issue with that. Are the fees the same?
I can't speak to what's being reimbursed by United Healthcare and Molina Healthcare, so I'm not sure if the fees are the same.
Okay, if United or Molina is on, Matt, let's add that to the agenda for the next meeting, because by law we have parity.
Yes, that is true.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that I can answer for the group?
Nope, I believe that's everything. Thank you so much.
You got it.
And Carolyn, did that answer your Drista question?
Yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, Drista was an added code by the Department of Medicaid. So since it is an added code, then it would be covered by all of the MCO entities. And then whether or not there was a PA required would be covered by what IQuest has on their website, or same for Avisus. And then from what I'm hearing from March Vision, there would be no PA because it is an optometric service provided, albeit medical. So that should cover Drista. And then I guess to everyone, my only other question about the Drista is then reimbursement. Where would our members find the reimbursement for the codes associated with the Drista injections? We can go alphabetical. Avisus, you can go first if you know that answer. If not, we can find that out.
I would say, Carlin, it's right on our fee schedule, our fee for that, if I'm not mistaken. Nicole, are you on?
Hey, Dr. Levy, it's Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Oh, thank you, Danny.
Yeah, so it is on the fee schedule. It's both on the ophthalmology fee schedule and the optometry fee schedule.
Perfect. And then for IQuest?
This is Mandy. It's also on the fee schedule for the ODs.
Okay. And then for March Vision, is that the same? Maybe. So March Vision, that's the only other question I guess I would have for you, is that if that Drista coverage or the reimbursement amount is on a fee schedule, or how our members would locate that.
Hey, this is Heather, Dr. Munson. I'm so sorry. I'm having issues with my headset this morning. I'll be happy to take that back and get you that confirmation though.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, that's all I had on that, Dr. Burchett.
Thank you much. Just to kind of look at that as well, I know Drista is a newer code set for coverage that optometry can do in Kentucky. And I guess this is more of a question for the department. Used to be we would go through, I think, Charles to look at new codes that were added, that we were allowed to bill for new procedures, things like that. And I know he's no longer there. So my question would be, who do we go to in the department for things like that now?
We are going to add a new, I'm sorry, this is Lee Geist. We're going to add a new assistant director to replace Charles' position. I'm not sure we can ever replace Charles, but we will give it our best shot. His name is Justin Derringer. He won't be on board until August the 16th. And so until then, you'll have to send that information to myself.
Okay. Thank you, Lee.
Sure.
I just didn't know, since Charles was no longer with y'all, I didn't know where that was going to go to. So, okay. Thank you. The next topic under Drista is the co-management for cataract surgery. And that was for me, but I think I've had my question answered at this point on that. So I don't really have any more questions on that. We've talked about the ERGs. I know March has said they were thinking about doing a frame kit. I didn't know if there was any update March had for that at this point.
Hi, this is Adrian. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I wasn't able to fix my audio earlier. Yes, we still are interested in having a frame kit, but most likely won't roll out anything until next year. There's no update. There are some things we're working out with that, but it is something we do hope to do in the future.
Gotcha. Thanks for the update.
Sure.
And the last one is for, it looks like, IQuest. And Steve, did you have a question on the replacement pair?
Yes, we had a child that, as children often do, broke their glasses pretty quickly. And we got them a replacement pair and billed it, and it was denied. So we called, and I wish Cindy were here where she could, because she talked to them, that they don't recognize the dispensing code. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, 92341 or something like that. And they won't do a replacement pair until 2 months have expired. So we ended up, we ate that pair. We replaced it out of our pocket for the child. That just didn't sound, maybe that's their policy, but that's a little different than what we're used to, I suppose.
Right. That's not.
Kids have to go 2 months without their eyewear.
So
Yeah,
Dr. Compton, I don't know that specific situation, but you can absolutely reach out to me. That is not, the policy is not to not replace. Children have unlimited replacements. That is a benefit. That is how we cover it. It is never not covered for a replacement pair. As far as the dispensing portion of that, we do monitor that. If it's within 60 days, there's not an additional dispensing paid on that claim, but the glasses are absolutely covered. So and there isn't really an authorization required for that because children have unlimited replacements.
Yeah, we build it like we do other things. So the materials are covered, but our time and all that sort of thing's not. We're to do that for free.
So within the 60 days, we do have that monitoring in place. Yeah, because not you, obviously, and probably not anybody on this call, but it is kind of an area with, Medicaid programs that is taken advantage of out in the world today, and something that we try to, manage and monitor for.
What I'm asking, if it's within 60 days and I don't get reimbursed for my staff time, what they spend calling, ordering, dispensing, calling the patient, we're expected to do that for no compensation?
If there's an exception of that case, you can, send it over to me so I can understand. It sounds like this is kind of a one-off scenario that this happened within the first 60 days. It probably doesn't usually happen. So
what I'm asking, you said in the first 60 days, there's no dispensing fee.
Correct.
There's reimbursed for our time and trouble. So if they break them the first 60 days, we're expected to do all of the work for free?
Well, it should be a reorder, right, of the same glasses because they just got them, maybe even 2 weeks ago, they sat on them, whatever. Yeah. And it's a reorder in the system. It's the same, everything is, saved in the system. So you should be able to just reorder that pair of glasses.
I understand that, but I've got to pay the person to reorder them. I've got to pay the person to call the child or the child's parents, and sometimes that takes several calls. I've got to pay the person to dispense them and fit them and adjust them when they come in. Even though we did it on the first pair, we're doing it again on the second pair. I just think that should be reimbursed somehow. Maybe at a lower fee. I think there's 2 codes for that, a replacement. Yeah, I mean, there's the initial dispensing fee and there's a replacement fee. But it does take more time and effort and money and expertise and that sort of thing. I just think that should be reimbursed.
Yeah, Dr. Compton, this is Jean. If you could have Cindy send that case over to us to take a look at first.
Okay.
And then second thing, if you would just let me meet with IQuest and Mandy around your concern, and I can give you an email, or we can just bring it up the next meeting and give you an update.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
I think she's talked to you recently about something else maybe, but.
I think, we took care of that other, the other thing that she sent out to me. So just have her email me and then I can meet with Mandy.
It's not just me. I mean, it's,
yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I just think it's a discussion we need to have. That. Okay.
So. And I'll agree. There's situations that are ripe for abuse.
Oh, absolutely, there is, and we have to watch for those too. Yeah. You are correct.
Okay.
You good, Steve?
Oops.
I'm good, but I would like it on the agenda next month.
Yep, I've got it noted.
Or November, whenever we next meeting. Thank you.
Yes, I want to stick with IQuest and Anthem real quick. I had a kind of another scenario, and I know it's not in your policy and it's a value-added benefit for adult glasses, but I had a monocular patient who can't afford a polycarbonate lens for his glasses to protect his good eye. And when we reached out to you all, we were told that since it was a value-added benefit, that the upgrade to a polycarbonate lens, even though medically necessary, would be all on the patient. And I understand that because it's a value-added benefit, and I don't care that I ate the cost for the boy because he needed the protection with his prescription. But going forward, if you're looking at policies and things like that, I think it may behoove not only you all, but all the other MCOs that provide the value-added benefits of adult glasses in situations like that to consider covering polycarbonate lenses and things like that for them.
And this is all I have. Yeah, this is from Anthem. We can take a look at that. We have done some one-offs that it may not be that IQuest can approve it, but they'll bring it to Anthem and we'll do an administrative approval. And that has been on just some weird, odd things, sort of like what you were saying, that's a little bit out of the value-added benefit, but something that is a make sense type of thing to take care of someone. So my suggestion, if you have any of those type of really odd things that they've come back and said no, if you would send it to me, and again, it's Gene O'Brien at Anthem, we can take a look at it maybe from an administrative approval. So it'd be a little bit different. So just a different process, but we have done that for a few unusual situations that have come up. That is around the value-added benefit.
Okay.
Okay. You have to have sort of the rules, but there's always outliers here and there. So.
Well, sure.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, though.
No, thank you. That looks like, unless I've missed something, if I have, somebody please say something to me. All the stuff we had on the agenda, were there any other things that the TAC needed to discuss or come to mind since the agenda came out?
Matt, this is Steve Compton. Going back to our first item, I texted Cindy, and we are getting paid for refractions on the medical.
Okay.
So that's working.
Okay, good deal. Thank you, Steve. So the last thing is the next TAC date, and we've scheduled it for the 4th of November. Is it still the pleasure of the TAC to do Zoom, or would you all like to try to get back together in person? I'll tell you, my preference is I really don't mind either way. I live close enough to Frankfurt that I can be there. Not too much travel time, but it's up to the rest of y'all.
Matt, this is Steve again. I think the in-person meetings are much more effective, but the November meeting, we still don't know where this COVID thing's going. And I'm kind of leaning toward keep that one virtual and then revisit about doing in-person meetings.
Sure.
Starting next year. different TACs, I think I heard Charlie talking earlier, are doing different things. Some are doing every other meeting in person. Those are the ones that meet pretty often too. We just meet 4 times a year, I think. So I'd like to see us get back to in person when it's safe to do so.
Okay.
But I have no problem doing in person now either. If the pleasure of the committee is to meet in person in November, I'll be there.
I'm in agreement with Steve, Matt. This is Dr. Upchurch.
Yep. Okay. Carolyn, any thoughts?
I feel like I'm on the same page as Dr. Compton too. So we can revisit it in November and see where things are at then.
Sounds good. James, you got any words of wisdom?
He may have lost his connection or something. I'm not seeing him.
Okay. Well, I couldn't see who all was on because of the screen share, and that's fine. So then with the pleasure of the rest of the TAC, we'll stay virtual in November, and then we'll revisit depending on how things look at that point for next year.
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
I just said thank you all for doing that since it wasn't on the agenda, and I just wanted to bring it up. Appreciate it.
No, you're fine. No problem. No problem. And as far as it looks like my notes, I think that's all we have today. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion that we adjourn. This is Dr. Munson.
Dr. Upchurch, second.
Sounds good. We are adjourned until November 4th. You all have a good afternoon. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. You too.
Thank you.